ngobrol Inggris?
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to the YNI podcast. I'm your host, Sarah, and I am so happy you are here today. How are you feeling? Good, great, or maybe a little bit bored?
And I'm Walter. Hello, everyone. I'm feeling calm. Very calm. Maybe too calm. Actually, Sarah, now that you mention it, I was feeling a tiny bit bored before we started recording.
See, that is perfect because today's topic is exactly about that feeling. Today, we are talking about what do you do when you're bored?
A very important question, especially for people who have too much free time or people who just don't know what to do with their hands.
Hey, don't look at me like that. But seriously, before we start our chat, we want to say something special to our listeners. If you are learning English, please listen carefully.
Yes, this is important. Don't worry if you don't understand every single word. It is okay, really. You don't need to understand 100%. Just try to catch the main ideas. Listen to the rhythm of our voices.
Exactly. Active listening means you are trying to understand the story, not translating every word in your head. So relax, grab a cup of tea or coffee, get comfortable, and let's talk about boredom.
Let's do it. But first, Sarah, define bored. What does it feel like for you?
Oh, wow. For me, being bored feels like my brain is asleep, but my body is awake. I feel restless. I look at the clock and only 2 minutes have passed. Then I look again and it's still only 2 minutes. Time moves very slowly. What about you, Walter?
For me, it's different. When I'm bored, I feel heavy, like gravity is stronger. I just want to sit on the sofa and stare at the wall. Nothing looks interesting. The wall is boring. My phone is boring. Even food looks boring.
That sounds terrible. We need to fix that immediately. So let's start with the most common thing people do, the number one activity for bored people all over the world.
Let me guess. Looking at a small rectangle with a glass screen?
Yes, scrolling through social media, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Shorts. You know what I do? I pick up my phone to check one message. Then suddenly, 45 minutes later, I am watching a video of a cat playing a piano.
Classic. I do the same thing. I call it the infinite scroll. You just move your thumb up, up, up. You see a cooking video, then a dance video, then someone building a house out of mud. It's crazy.
And the funny part is, after 45 minutes, do you feel happy? Do you feel energetic?
No, usually I feel more tired and actually more bored than before. It's like eating junk food. It tastes good for a second, but then you feel bad.
That is a great description. So scrolling is popular, but maybe not the best solution. Let's talk about some idioms. Walter, do you know an idiom about having nothing to do?
I do. In English, we often say, twiddle your thumbs.
Ooh, good one. Okay, listeners, did you hear that? Twiddle your thumbs. Walter, what does that mean? Can you explain it simply?
Sure. To twiddle your thumbs means to sit around doing nothing useful. Literally, imagine holding your hands together and rotating your thumbs around each other. It's a silly physical action people do when they are waiting or have no work.
So if I am sitting on the bus and I have no book, no phone, and I am just looking out the window, moving my fingers...
Then you are twiddling your thumbs, yes. For example, I arrived at the airport 3 hours early, so I just sat there and twiddled my thumbs until my flight arrived.
Perfect example. I hate doing that. I always need to do something. If I can't twiddle my thumbs, I usually try to clean something. Is that weird?
A little bit, but I understand. When I am bored at home, sometimes I start organizing my books or cleaning the kitchen. Suddenly, the boring feeling goes away because I'm busy.
Yes, cleaning is a great distraction. But what if you don't want to clean? What if you want to go outside?
Going outside. That depends on the weather. If it is sunny, I like to go for a walk. But sometimes even walking can be boring if you go to the same place every day.
True. That's why I like to try new things. Last weekend, I was so bored on Saturday morning, I didn't want to scroll on my phone, so I decided to learn how to draw.
Draw? Like art? You, Sarah? I've seen your stick figures. They are unique.
Hey, don't be nice. Yes, my drawings are not perfect, but the point wasn't to be Picasso. The point was to try something new. I watched a tutorial on YouTube. I got some paper and pencils. I spent 2 hours drawing a bowl of fruit.
And how was the fruit?
The apple looked like a red potato. The banana looked like a yellow sausage. But you know what? I wasn't bored. I was focused. I was having fun making mistakes.
That is actually a very good point. When you try a new hobby, your brain wakes up. You aren't just consuming content, you are creating something, even if it's a yellow sausage banana.
Exactly. So listeners, here is a question for you. When was the last time you tried a new hobby just because you were bored? Did you cook something new? Did you try to dance? Did you try to write a poem? Think about it.
Speaking of trying new things, there is another idiom we should mention. Sarah, have you ever heard the phrase at loose ends?
Yes, I love that one. It sounds a bit strange, right? Loose ends? Let's explain it for our friends listening. Walter, what does at loose ends mean?
Well, imagine a piece of rope. If the rope is cut, the strings at the end are loose. They are not tied to anything. So when a person is at loose ends, it means they have nothing specific to do. They feel uncertain or unoccupied. They don't have a plan.
Right. It's that feeling of, it's Saturday afternoon, I have no plans, and I don't know where to start.
Exactly. You can say, after I finished my big project at work, I was at loose ends for a few days. I didn't know what to do with my free time.
That happens to me often on Sundays. I finish my chores, and then I'm at loose ends. That is usually when I call a friend, which brings us to another situation, being bored with other people versus being bored alone.
Oh, being bored with friends is different. When I'm alone and bored, I feel lonely. But when I'm with friends and we are bored, it becomes a game. We try to make each other laugh.
Yes, last month my friends and I were at a park. It was raining, so we couldn't play soccer. We were stuck under a small tree. We were so bored.
What did you do? Did you twiddle your thumbs?
No, we started playing a word game. We had to make a story, but each person could only say one word.
One word? That is difficult.
It was hilarious. Someone would say the, and the next person would say giant, and the next purple, and then cow. Eventually, the story made no sense, and we were laughing so hard our stomachs hurt. The boredom disappeared instantly.
That sounds fun. Social interaction kills boredom very quickly. But sometimes you are with people, but you are still bored. Like when you are at a very long meeting or a family dinner where everyone is talking about politics and you don't care.
Oh, I know that feeling. Your eyes start to close, you nod your head, but you aren't listening.
In that situation, we have another idiom. This one is very visual. We say bored to tears.
Bored to tears? That sounds dramatic. Does it mean you are actually crying?
Not usually. It's an exaggeration. It means you are extremely bored. So bored that you could cry. It describes a very high level of boredom.
Okay, let's use it in a sentence. The lecture was 2 hours long and the speaker spoke in a quiet voice. I was bored to tears.
Perfect. Or, we watched that movie for 3 hours. The plot was so slow, I was bored to tears by the middle of it.
I think I felt that way during a very long car trip with my cousins once. We drove for 6 hours. No music, just talking about things I didn't understand. I was definitely bored to tears.
See? Idioms help us describe our feelings more clearly. Instead of just saying, I'm bored, you can say, I'm bored to tears, or I'm at loose ends. It makes your English sound more natural.
Absolutely. Now, let's talk about technology again, but in a positive way. Sometimes the internet saves us from boredom. Have you ever learned a skill online?
Yes, during the pandemic, when everyone was stuck at home, I learned how to bake bread.
No way! You? Mr. I Burn Toast?
Hey, I improved. At first, my bread was like a rock. You could break a window with it. But I watched videos, I practiced, and now I make decent sourdough bread.
That is amazing! So when you were baking, were you bored?
No, kneading the dough took a lot of energy. Waiting for it to rise was relaxing. Taking it out of the oven smelled wonderful. It turned a boring Sunday into a productive day.
That is the secret, isn't it? Boredom is often just a signal. It's our brain saying, hey, we need stimulation. We need to do something different.
I like that idea. Boredom is a signal. It's not a bad thing. It's a push to be creative. If we were never bored, maybe we would never invent new things or learn new skills.
Wow, deep thoughts, Walter. I didn't expect that from the guy who likes to stare at walls.
I have my moments, but seriously, think about children. When children say, I'm bored, parents often tell them to go play outside or use their imagination, and usually 5 minutes later, the child is building a fort or pretending to be a superhero.
Adults forget how to do that. We wait for entertainment to come to us. We wait for Netflix to give us a show. We wait for our phones to notify us. We should be more like kids.
Agreed. So here is a challenge for our listeners. Next time you feel bored, don't pick up your phone immediately. Wait 5 minutes. Sit with the feeling. Ask yourself, what do I really want to do? Maybe draw. Maybe call a friend. Maybe go for a walk. Maybe bake bread.
Yes, break the cycle of scrolling. And while you're doing these activities, you might find yourself using another idiom. Walter, do you have one more for us?
I do. This one is about time passing quickly when you are having fun. We say, time flies.
Time flies. Everyone knows this one, right? But let's practice it. What does it mean?
It means time passes very quickly. Usually, we say time flies when you are having fun. When you are enjoying an activity, you look at the clock and hours have passed without you noticing.
The opposite when you are bored. When you are bored, time crawls. When you're having fun, time flies.
Exactly. Example, I called my best friend to chat for 10 minutes, but we talked for 2 hours. Time flies when you're catching up.
Another example, I started reading that mystery book at 8 p.m. and suddenly it was midnight. Time flies when the story is good.
Nice example, Sarah. You're getting good at this.
Thanks. I learned from the best. So let's review our idioms quickly for our listeners.
Twiddle your thumbs, doing nothing useful. At loose ends, having no plans, feeling uncertain what to do. Bored to tears, extremely bored. Time flies, time passes very quickly. And kill time.
Did we miss any?
We mentioned killing time earlier, didn't we?
Oh, yes, kill time. That's a good one, too. To kill time means to do something just to make time pass until your real activity starts, like reading a magazine while waiting at the doctor's office. You aren't reading because you love the magazine. You're reading to kill time.
Correct. So that's 5 useful phrases today. Try to use one of them this week. Maybe text a friend and say, I'm at loose ends. Do you want to grab coffee?
Or say, don't invite me to that meeting. I will be bored to tears. Although, maybe don't say that to your boss.
Good advice. Keep that one for your friends only.
Before we finish, I want to ask our listeners one more thing. We talked about being alone and being with friends, but what about being bored in nature or bored in a city? Does the place matter?
I think the place matters less than your attitude. If you have a curious mind, you can find interesting things anywhere. Look at the clouds. Watch how people walk. Listen to the birds. If you pay attention, you are never truly bored.
That is beautiful, Walter. If you pay attention, you are never truly bored. I might put that on a t-shirt.
Please don't. I don't want to be famous for my deep quotes.
Too late. It's already in the podcast history. Okay, let's summarize what we talked about today.
All right. First, we agreed that scrolling on social media is a common habit, but it doesn't always make us feel better.
Second, we learned that boredom can be a signal to try something new, like a hobby, cleaning, or calling a friend.
Third, we learned 5 great idioms: twiddle your thumbs, at loose ends, bored to tears, time flies, and kill time.
And finally, we remembered that having fun makes time fly, but being bored makes time feel very slow.
And the most important lesson, don't be afraid of boredom. Use it as a chance to create something, even if it's just a drawing of a yellow sausage banana.
Never let me live that down, will you? Okay, friends, that is all for today's episode of the YNI podcast.
We hope you enjoyed listening. Remember, practice makes perfect. Try to speak English today, even if you are just talking to yourself while you wash the dishes.
Yes, tell us what you do when you are bored. Send us a message or leave a comment. We love hearing from you. Did you try a new hobby? Did you twiddle your thumbs? Let us know.
Thank you for spending your time with us. I hope your time flew by quickly.
Aw, thanks, Walter. And thank you, listeners, for being such a wonderful audience. Stay curious, stay active, and don't let boredom win.
See you next time.
Bye, everyone.